Good morning guys, Sarah Hollins, Wicked Maths. Had a brilliant question come in this week, a few questions actually of the same nature, but this one in particular stood out. Someone from my coaching group asked me, what do I do once I've gotten to the end of these exercises? She's working on some exercises on powers, indices. She said, do I carry on going on to the next topic, which is not related, I think it's fractions, or do I go back and make sure I really understand everything before I move on? Now, it seems really obvious that you should go back and make sure you iron out anything that you're not 100% sure about before you move on to the next topic. But there's always a lot of pressure in schools to move on to the next thing and move on to the next thing. And everyone knows those people in their class that eat up all the work. They do all the worksheets, they do all the work on the board, and they're at the teacher's desk and there's still half an hour of the class to go and they're after more work. Well, that's not always the best policy. Yeah, sure, work hard, but it's got to be quality as well, not just quantity. Lots and lots of gaps are made in maths by people who they struggle on a particular type of question, then they get it right, and it's like, yes, they get that little dopamine hit, which is fine. First time, second time, third time, and then it's kind of a bit, the feeling isn't as good when you're getting it right the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth time. So you want to move on to the next topic so that after you've struggled a little bit, you then get that dopamine hit again and go, oh goody, I got something else right. I understand that, but it's not best for you. We've got to get you to a place where you're almost not bothered. You expect yourself to get it right. You're actually more interested when you don't get something 100% correct. So, and that takes time, that takes practice. So what I'm saying is you must go back and repeat and repeat and repeat. It's the old classic that I'm sure many of you know this already because you're sports people. It's that old, don't practice till you get it right, practice until you cannot get it wrong. Don't practice till you get it right, practice till you cannot get it wrong. And that's a great advantage, because an awful lot of people who are just regular students who are having to study maths at school don't know that. They don't know anything about that. But you guys do, because you play sport. You know how important that is, that ability to be able to perform under pressure, that ability to do that, lay off that pass, take that shot, score that penalty, regardless of the circumstances in the match, so on and so forth. It's exactly like musicians. Just think back to first year when you're in year 7. Remember, there must be someone in your year that plays violin, and it probably sounded awful. It probably sounded dreadful. Just think back to that assembly where they first played for you, or maybe the first after-school concert or something. Chances are they were dreadful, absolutely dreadful. But then they hit year 10, year 11, where you guys are now, and they're doing grade 8. They're playing at the Royal Northern College of Music. They're off to National Youth Music Orchestra this summer. Some of them will go on to university to read music, and have careers in orchestras, the Halle, whatever. That's all practice. Remember how appalling they were in year 7, and now listen to them play. Yeah, if you have that image, or if you've got it, you might have video footage. Yeah, compare and contrast, have a laugh. Maybe some of these people. Maybe some of these people personally, and it goes to show that talent doesn't really have all that much to do with it. It's that 4 or 5 years of practice that person has put in, painstaking practice. Think of their parents. Imagine listening to that horrendous violin when they're not very good. I got banned from playing the violin in primary school. I was so bad they gave me a clarinet instead. They didn't even think 5, 6, 7, 8 years of practice could save me. Who knew? But I think I was probably the exception with that. Perhaps if my mother had been a bit more patient, I would be that great violin player now. So what I'm saying is, it's the same old message, isn't it? Practice. But don't buy into this myth that being good at maths is some sort of gift. You have to be a genius. It's absolute nonsense. It's like that crappy violin player. It's like that person who cannot play the violin at all in year 7 and is now off to the National Youth Music Orchestra this summer. Yeah, maths is exactly the same. You know this from sport. You know how bad you were in year 7 and how good you are now. All right, maths, sport, music, they're the same. When it comes to learning them, they're the same. Practice. Gotta fly, plan ahead, get ahead, stay ahead.